Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
You guys will be very excited to know here that our guy, loyal listener Brady LaRock, whose father was a longtime legendary Dallas Cowboys PA announcer, the LaRock family of voiceover professionals and artists. He has sent in a Judd's Camp Notes intro here. Would you mind if I fired?
Yeah.
See what this? Okay.
Of course, let's hear it.
And I will right after we go to Quick Trip. Let's go to Quick Trip first.
Okay,
and
yeah.
we'll fire
No
that,
question about it, because Quick Trip should always be our first place to stop. Why? Well, I mean, if you're watching this right now, just look at the options. And not only are there great options, but also don't forget to gear up for Quick Trip's Mountain Dew Quick Climb. Now through August the 17th, play each day for free in the Quick Rewards app and score bonus plays with every eligible item that you grab. We're talking about Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Gatorade, Propel, Sparkling Bubbler, Starbucks, Pure Leaf, and Rockstar. Grab one of those with hot food and earn 2 bonus plays. Every week, someone's cashing in. To what tune? Well, each week, that prize is climbing by $5,000, and the one player who reaches the top, $250,000 cash. Are you kidding me? Open your Quick Rewards app and get climbing for a chance to win with Quick Trip and Mountain Dew. No purchase necessary. See full rules at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
Purple Daily presents Judd's Camp Notes. Here's your host, Judd Zolgad.
Oh, wow.
That is
Old school. I like that.
That is really old school.
This is your featured presentation.
Yes. Please
Of the
silence your cell
National
phones.
Football League.
Sounds like a movie. Silence your cell phones. Please, no talking.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we all got our bucket of popcorn here. We're ready for the feature presentation. Judd's Camp. No, it was a sweltering day. It was the first full padded practice at Vikings camp yesterday. Judd even assigned me some homework.
Yeah.
So I will sprinkle in the findings from my homework throughout this, but let's fire it up here. Judd's Camp Notes. Judd's Camp Notes.
All right, kids. Okay, calm down. Calm down, children. You got to calm down so I can talk about what transpired at TCO Performance Center on Monday. It was a glorious day for some sweaty football practice, which is what coaches love.
Football.
And if there was to be a headline on each of my camp notes, which thankfully there's not, but if there was to be a contrived headline,
No, there actually is.
this one would be JJ got Floresed. Not flossed, Floresed. Phil was there too, so we'll both go back and forth on this one. But here's the situation for the end of the practice, which again, full pads, featured a lot of different situational 11-on-11 work. Late game situation. So this is where the fur is flying, boys. 1:15 left. Offense down 13-10. One timeout. Ball spotted on the offense's 35. So 1:15 left. Long way to go. But there's certainly time to be able to move the football.
And just because I don't know if every fan, for certainly not everyone has been to training camp. That is a made up scenario, just so people know. Like it wasn't like they were keeping score throughout an hour of practice and it was only 13-10. They literally just make up a scenario that they want to see happen in the last like 10 minutes of practice. So that was the made up scenario.
Exactly right. And it's 1v1. This is where we get it. 1v1. So it's Brian Flores' best against Kevin O'Connell's best, led by young JJ McCarthy. Let's just go through it, and then let's talk about the results and where this sort of puts you from both an offensive and defensive perspective. So at the 35, JJ in shotgun, and here comes Flores. And keep in mind, Brian Flores pulls no punches. And I don't know if O'Connell, I don't think he loves this, but I also don't think he stops it from happening because he is the head coach. So this is with intense pressure. JJ McCarthy takes now he can't be hit, okay? So this is all to like Phil's point, hypothetical again. But he gets figuratively sacked, which means he gets wrapped up.
The ball didn't come out of his
not going to the ground.
Hand.
Correct. And in the real world, he would have been sacked. A loss of 8 yards. Oh my. So now the ball's at the offense's 27-yard line. We have JJ McCarthy. Again, heavy pressure. So Flores is bringing it. So like for all of you who are like, well, he's done blitzing. The blitzing is done.
No, it's dialed. It is dialed up
Yes.
to 10. Yeah.
And like Grenard's coming. Like we are talking about heavy pressure here. JJ gets the ball off. Not a great pass, but it's caught by TJ Hawkinson. But there's a flag on the play. The defense was so geared up to pin their ears back, they had jumped offside. So we have there are officials. This is not they're not yet, and they'll come in for a couple of practices. The NFL officials, who I think will be here probably for the joint practices, but they're like local officials who come out and throw some flags and basically try and keep you as honest as possible.
They're not dictating as much. Like sometimes they'll throw
Right.
a flag and no one will acknowledge it, and they'll
Correct.
just like pick it back up.
Correct. And they threw the flag here. The Vikings got the playoff, but it ends up being because I think the completion was probably like 3 yards. So they take the penalty. So now we're at the 32-yard line. Shotgun again. JJ McCarthy. All right, let's go here. Here comes the pressure. Here comes the snap. Here comes the pressure. JJ tries to get a pass off to Jordan Mason, who we've talked about, is going to be, I think now, he's going to be part of the passing game. But anyway, because of the pressure, it's not a good pass. In Mason's defense, he had no chance, in my opinion, at this ball. So this is just a poorly thrown ball. That is an incompletion. So now the final play of the period for the 1v1s, 48 seconds on the clock. McCarthy again in shotgun, and he is sacked again. And that is it.
It was pure Brian Flores domination. And depending on sort of how you view the Viking season or these practices, first of all, it was one drive. You know, it was they'll do more of these. One thing on this, and then I'll give you an anecdote too. But I thought, because usually they give the offense and the defense a second crack at it. I feel like in those end of practice 2-minute drills. Okay, it'll be one offense versus one defense. Whatever happens, and then the twos come out, and then they re-rack the ones for a second time. Maybe the twos get back out there, but sometimes they'll just put the ones back out there. And I kind of thought, based on the way that first drive went offensively, and Kevin O'Connell being an offensive coach and wanting to see his young quarterback develop, that he might just add another drive to the agenda and say, let's see that again just for fun. We can't end practice on that note, offense, right? He didn't. And I kind of love that. I don't know if it was just, hey, this is the schedule we had today and we're sticking to it, or if he consciously thought, I'm going to make my offense and my young quarterback have to stew and sleep on that for a night, for 24 hours until Tuesday's practice.
That's very possible. And as far as the pressure goes, too. So Will Fries, for the first time since practice started, returned to some team drills. I think he took part in like 2 or 3 periods. Just to be clear, in this case, Blake Brandel was at right guard. Justin Skoll was at left tackle.
Yeah.
And so we are talking about a situation where you were without 2 of who will be eventually, once Darisaw comes back, your starting offensive linemen. So all of this is important to say you cannot pin this completely on the quarterback. There were other things at work here. There were missed blocks. But yeah, this is, I would say this, if you're O'Connell, this provides some great film. This provides some great teaching film. And this is where the Flores thing is a double-edged sword. The bad thing is they're seeing looks from Flores that they probably will not see all season long. And so it's not like what they're going to see. So it doesn't help them as far as that goes. But the good thing is it also provides you with looks from a defense that is run with more intricacies than most. And they're not pulling punches. So I think the good outweighs the bad as far as what you are putting on film, and what, from an offensive standpoint, you can definitely, and again, as a whole, this is not just all JJ McCarthy, what you can learn from.
Not to jump too far ahead in Judd's camp notes here, but I felt like McCarthy, it wasn't his best practice of the last week, but I thought there were some good highlight moments. I don't know that there was like a 60-yard bomb to Addison in there, but there was... The bulk of practice wasn't all bad for McCarthy. There was he did get on the run, flushed out to his right at one point, which nice job kind of evading the pressure. and he had a receiver flash open over the middle, and he threw it just behind a receiver, and he was very frustrated by that at one point, like halfway through the 11-on-11 team drills. But I didn't think it was 2 hours of bad for the offense. Is that fair? It was definitely, like, the offense was throwing some punches in the 11-on-11 team drills before the 2-minute session.
In fact, statistically, it was not all bad at all. JJ McCarthy on the day, by the way, no 7-on-7s done, so all team stuff. And it was an 11-period practice, and we had actual team drills from periods 8 through 11. JJ McCarthy, 8 for 10.
Yeah.
The pass of the day to me, to go to your point, Phil, the pass of the day to me was early on in the team stuff, a drill that was a first down at the offense's 41-yard line, and McCarthy threaded a pass very nicely to Lucky Jackson, who is clearly getting way more opportunities because Justin Jefferson is out. Yeah. And he put it basically through Theo Jackson, who originally I thought was going to pick the ball. And I want your opinion. This, to me, felt like far more of a layered pass, and it didn't feel like the throw had plenty of bite to it, but it also felt like he took a little bit off to complete it, as opposed to try to, as I've talked about, throw it through the defender.
Yeah, it was, and there's some fan video. I saw a couple different angles of that pass. It was very 50-50. I thought it was a pick at first. Theo Jackson came in, he read it, he sprinted in, he jumped up, it became a 50-50 ball. Lucky Jackson makes the catch, and because Theo is sort of moving toward the sideline, it was a walk-in touchdown. But if that pass is made 10 times, it's probably an interception going back the other way 5 or 6 times. But there's going to be times this year where the right play is to throw the ball up 30 yards down the field to Jefferson or Addison and let them make a play on it. And in this case, it was Lucky Jackson that made a play on it and scored a big touchdown.
Yeah, and let's go back. Actually, I think it was the 2023 training camp. It might have been Kirk's second camp here with KO. And O'Connell specifically talked about, and this applies very much now, opportunity balls. Mm-hmm. And his point at the time was Kirk doesn't necessarily throw balls that he should because he's so afraid about being picked off, which, by the way, we don't want him throwing. This is not an endorsement of dumb passes, but it's an endorsement of if you have a play that's going to get us a big chunk of yards, you can't just dismiss it. It feels like McCarthy is far more apt to throw opportunity balls. Will they get picked occasionally? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
But we complained for a long time about, well, that throw was sort of there. And Kirk wouldn't. So just keep in mind, if you're going to complain about McCarthy, we complained, it's a little bit hypocritical because we complained about the exact opposite thing with Kirk, which is, dude, you are a veteran quarterback with a pretty good arm. Why are you not attempting that throw? And that's where O'Connell, talked about opportunity balls and the opportunity to make plays. It's not an endorsement of dumb plays. It's an endorsement of sometimes you have to take advantage.
Yeah, and I think another way to phrase it would be like probability balls, or I think one of the hardest things as a quarterback is trying to figure out on every type of throw. Like a check down is a very low risk throw. It's not unless you fire a fastball off target and the ball bounces off the running back's hand, and we've seen that before. It's going to be a high completion. A check down is going to be a high completion percentage throw, but a low upside. You're not going to hit a home run dumping it to the tight end and the running back 20 times a game. So the further you go out and the tighter the windows, you're trying to calculate the risk versus reward. Is this a positive value, like a plus EV throw down the field? And I don't think that's going to click in a quarterback's first year as much. So that's where Kevin O'Connell has to come in and say, your job, and I think he did this with Kirk Cousins, your job isn't to just mitigate all risk as a quarterback. You have to take risks as a quarterback, or you're not going to, because there's going to be games where we got to score 30 points to win this game. And you're not going to score 30 points by just avoiding risk for 3 hours. So that's one of the interesting themes, I think, throughout this camp is McCarthy is testing the limits of what's possible in this offense. I do have one anecdote here off of the McCarthy stuff.
Camp notes.
Come on.
So,
Football.
and I'll give you this anecdote and kind of throw it back to both you guys, just observing JJ McCarthy through these practices and his personality over the last year and a half. So I did have a chance to sort of walk off the field with him, and just, it wasn't like an on the record conversation, but we'd never met in person one-on-one before. My guy, JJ McCarthy.
You guys are boys. Just say it. We're boys.
We're tight like that. We like to walk off the field, both sweating. Me because I'm standing there for 2 hours in the sun. Him because he played football against Brian Flores' defense.
It's essentially the same thing.
Same thing.
100%. I think he'd be comfortable with me sharing this part of our conversation. Right away he made a comment about the end of practice. Like, man, I think he said flush it and get better is like what he and I didn't even ask. I think it was on his mind that holy crap, that defense just absolutely trucked us on those 3 or 4 plays. But my observation is he was almost excited to get the Flores treatment. It was like his competitive juices were flowing after that practice. He had a big smile on his face despite feeling terrible about the way practice ended. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he kind of he loved getting punched in the mouth because in his mind, it's not a failed practice. It's learning and absorbing and expediting the process of getting to a place where he knows how to dissect it. So I guess in my 20 years off and on covering Vikings training camp and football, I don't know that I can recall a quarterback with the first team offense getting smoked like that, and it happens, but reacting the way that he did, which is, I want more of that. I want them to throw everything at me every single time so that I can get as comfortable with it as possible, as quickly as possible. That was my main observation, just catching up with him after practice.
I know it's only been, one full padded practice. Obviously, we can go back to mini camp and stuff too. But I mean, and Judd, you've been watching him a little bit more closely with the field glasses than Phil has, and I obviously haven't been there. Has he been more risk adverse? Is it too early to tell? Has he taken his shots? Has he been pretty the opposite of risk adverse? He's been taking like some legitimate chances down the field.
He's slinging it.
He's not afraid. Yeah, if anything, you might have to at some point in time rein him in. But I think what makes this camp so valuable is the work also on the throws and like the textures of the throws and the layering of the throws. He definitely sometimes does have the old college thing of I'm going to just throw it through a guy, which is going to be picked off sometimes. So they're but I mean, this is the thing that O'Connell. So like, if you're going to give a quarterback like this, who is partially a piece of clay, right, to a coach, you got to hand it off to the right coach. Like if you just throw him into, I don't know, let's say Seattle. All due respect to Clint Kubiak, I don't know that he can mold that. So like what this is the thing that's interesting about those that complain about keeping stats in training camp, and this is where I agree. Now I will continue to keep stats. I've got the stats right here. But this is where I agree with that thought process. When coaches are like, you don't really know what we're doing, so like you're keeping stats of things that you don't understand what you're watching. I think you think, well, oh yeah, Katie, because you don't know what the defenses are, you don't know what the offense is trying to accomplish. But with McCarthy, I think it's this simple. He's also, like yesterday, they are literally working on his throws right now, right? And so he is, like, I think that the pass to Lucky Jackson, because it looked different to me than just trying to put it through Theo Jackson. It looked like he was trying to layer the ball. So that's the type of thing where if that gets picked off, do I think O'Connell explodes about that? No, I think they're working on this, and that's the work in progress part. So there are a lot of things, especially with a young QB, and this is sort of where KO, and he did a good job with this, but this is where he was trying to sort of retrain Kirk Cousins' mind. Well, with McCarthy, it's not really a trained mind yet. It's a very open mind. And so, like, there are a lot of intricacies here, and in training camp, an interception is not necessarily just, oh, it's a terrible pick. Sometimes you are deliberately working on how you're trying to do things to see if you can improve there.
Yes, and all the while, especially in the 2-minute drill, full padded portion of practice here, where it's as intense as you're going to get until a joint practice or a regular season game. You're going up against one of the best defensive front sevens in a defensive system. This is something I mentioned this to McCarthy too, just kind of walking off the field. Like, this defense. Now they added Jonathan Allen and
So
Javon
you were sort of
Hargrave.
coaching them up. Like let's.
Listen.
Let's pull back the curtains.
It goes Kevin O'Connell, maybe Wes Phillips and Josh McCown.
No, it's not Wes.
And then Purple Daly clearly are the authorities here.
It's KO, Josh, Phil, and then it's sort of Wes. Hey, what's going on?
But I said, listen, far be it from me, a kid who his last year of football was 8th grade. I just spew into a microphone. So, take my opinion for what it's worth. But that defense has been working on this system for going on 3 years now. And they added 2 new key pieces, Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, who are kind of absorbing some of this new system too for them. But it's a lot of guys, Metellus, Harrison Smith. Now you're going year 2 with Van Ginkel and Grenard, and year 2 with Dallas Turner. Ivan Pace has been here. Like, these guys have now been playing together for 2, almost 3 years in a lot of cases, dialing up the complicated twists and looks and things. And JJ McCarthy is getting practice reps the last 3 months for the first time since the surgery. So if you're going to practice and you're watching the defense 4 steps ahead of the offense, there's a lot of reasons why that's the case. In fact, bonus episode later today of Purple Daily, Warren Sharp, who's one of the brightest football analytics minds, and a glorious mustache. There's going to be a great mustache off today.
Should have trimmed this up. I have to trim this up before we hit record, just FYI.
I don't think there's anything you can do. It's a great mustache.
Thank you. I know
with what's going to pop on our screen.
Right,
for that
but you need I need the right play sheet for this. So like I need to, just like McCarthy, I need to struggle against the defense so I can show back up.
The other stat.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
But he has ranked the Vikings defensive front 7 number 1 in the NFL. They were 25th last year, and he said based on the additions of Hargrave and Jonathan Allen and another year and Dallas Turner getting better, right? And we'll get to him. He flashed yesterday.
Yep.
That JJ McCarthy is facing a top 5 defense that got better and might have the best front 7 in the entire NFL. So that's kind of what it looked like in that 2-minute drill yesterday. We'll see what it looks like in a month from now.
In fact, you know what? Fire the sounder. Let's move on.
Okay.
I love it.
We want more camp notes.
Football.
All right, let's talk about it. The defense. And the defense looked absolutely, and I think it's going to be really good. It looked fantastic. And you can tell now. Here's what I love, okay? I'll just start with this one too. And we'll get to Dallas as well. But what I love with the first team is you can now see, and in fact, Phil, I do believe that you were charting this. You can now see not just the Hargrave presence, Allen presence, Harrison Phillips presence, but you can see the wave. Like now you've put all of those guys who sort of got, or who might have been forced into action, and they might not have been prepared, but they're very much prepared to play in waves. Mm-hmm. That second group, I think that this is, in my opinion, this is the final ingredient. Like if Flores was trying to cook a award-winning meal, the first year he had some, sprinkles here and there, but he was up against a little bit. Okay, year 2, you had Blake Cashman, Grenard, Van Ginkel. It's better. It's a better meal. But that front wasn't really set yet, and that front is now set. And so, yeah, I think it's important if we're going to say that the offense did not perform well in 1v1. And by the way, the 2v2 was just as bad. Sam Howell 0 for 3. But it's very important to point out it was because, like you said, the defense looked fantastic, and I think that front is going to be a huge game changer as far as what opponents can and can't do against this team this season.
Yeah, part of the homework you gave me was defensive line units and rotations. What are they doing? What do the sub packages look like? So here's old Macadac reporting back with the homework assigned from Judd's Camp Notes. So the first team base defense, the 3 down linemen are obviously Harrison Phillips, Javon Hargrave, and Jonathan Allen. When they go to the sub packages, and there's a few different variations of them, but like it's 3rd and must pass, right? It's like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, or it's just a practice drill where they're setting up their sub packages. Harrison Phillips is coming off the field, so they're leaving Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, who in their careers compared to Harrison Phillips have much better pass rushing rates. Harrison Phillips, a very good wide-ranging defensive tackle. But in terms of getting after the quarterback up the middle, Hargrave and Allen have been better in their careers. Hargrave, one of the best in the NFL the last 5 years. than Harrison Phillips. So Phillips comes off the field, and Dallas Turner comes on the field as the third edge rusher with Grenard and Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner is getting a ton of snaps in practice because he's playing a lot with these sort of like third down defensive packages with the first team defense, and then he's the main dude with the second team defense. He's the number one edge rusher with the second team defense. The second team base defense, the down lineman, Levi Drake Rodriguez, who was the kind of the Cinderella story of, he was 7th round pick out of Texas A&M Commerce last year, and just a guy that you observed him all throughout last year. Motor, personality, work ethic, all these things. Jalen Redmond, and then Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the 5th round pick, kind of the raw rookie 5th round pick, is up there ahead of a couple guys, Taki Taimani, that were popping up with that second team on last year's depth chart. So, and then when they get into the must-pass situations with that second team defense, the rookie Ingram Dawkins comes off the field, and they put a third edge rusher in to get after the quarterback. So they've got some interesting, and they love Levi Drake Rodriguez, I think, and Jalen Redmond. And those guys are going to be likely mixed in, not 50-50, but they're going to be mixed in throughout, I think, some regular season games to start the season.
Can we at least also now temporarily put to rest the Dallas Turner was a bust? Because what we're seeing so far, to me, is impressive. First of all, kudos to him. He has reshaped his body. Like, he looks stronger. He looks sleeker. He looks faster. And I also think, and this is what we've talked about, the Brian Flores defense takes time to learn. Like, if you're a kid stepping in, and I know Bama's good, but it's a different world. Like Brian Flores is not, if you're going to play for him, he's not going to go easy. He's not going to say, well, you're a first round pick, kid. We'll sort of give you a simple assignment. I think the Grenard, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner package is going to be an absolute bear. And we did see also in 2v2s, so I believe Dallas Turner was lined up at the left outside end to rush. But he pulled a Van Ginkel on Sam Howell and almost picked off a ball just like Van Ginkel does, and it was glorious. And now Howell was at fault because, again, he holds onto the ball too long, but still it's a heck of a play. There were plays on which I saw Dallas Turner stunting. There were plays on which Dallas Turner was in the quarterback's face. So I think you need to leave the door open for Dallas Turner to have a very good season. Now, does that mean he's going to get a ton of sacks? Who knows? Because with Grenard out there, Van Ginkel, like, the sacks are going to go to people I don't know who. Hargrave probably will have sacks. Allen will have sacks. But do I think that Dallas Turner looks like he can wreck a game plan? Yes, and that's the most important thing.
Agreed. He flashed a bunch of times yesterday. You detailed some of it. One of the notes I wrote down as I was just observing some of these drills, in the 11-on-11 full team, there was a portion where they had Dallas Turner lining up over the second team left tackle. Was it Walter Rouse? I don't remember 100% who the...
I think he's the second team right tackle, if I'm not mistaken.
But one of the depth running backs, Xavier Scott, was assigned to help the left tackle chip Dallas Turner off the edge in a practice. So he was just beating everyone yesterday, and they assigned it chipping help out of the backfield, which was interesting. So I have, before we get further in Judd's camp notes, I actually have a hottest Vikings take of the week, defense related here, presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning Decks.
Yes, make sure your HVAC is working properly here. It's been hotter than heck. We all know that. But it's going to cool off. It's going to cool off this week, which will be very, very nice. And you know what? When it's not 98 with humidity and it's more in that mid-70s, you can have Standard Heating come out and make sure that air conditioning is working properly for the next big heat wave that could be coming at you. So go to standardheating.com. You can also contact them however you'd like, whether that's via text message, email, over the phone. They want to make that process easier for you. And when you join their Smart Club, you'll also get discount on repairs, plus priority bookings in the event. Obviously, something doesn't go right either. So Standard Heating, they power these hot takes. They power us here at Purple Daily. Tell them that we sent you. Go to standardheating.com.
Also, a shout out to Federated Mutual Insurance Company. So Federated is here for you small and medium-sized business owners. And you guys, you're business owners, and we know that there's a lot of business owners that consume Purple Daily, not just in Minnesota, but across the country. And Federated, based in Minnesota, has a presence in all 50 states. But you understand the importance of protecting your company's reputation, financial assets, protecting your employees, the workplace in general. And Federated is here to put together a customized plan for risk management. And again, if you're a small to medium-sized business owner, go to federatedinsurance.com and find a list of industries that they specialize in. And you can find out more about the 100-plus year history of this great company as well. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours.
Football.
So every week, one of us gives our hottest Vikings take, presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. And just after this defensive conversation and the McCarthy number one offense versus number one defense in the 2-minute drill, my hottest take is too many people are fixated locally, nationally, maybe even on this show, we're guilty of this. Too many people are fixated on JJ McCarthy as the key figure for whether the Vikings are going to contend for a Super Bowl. He is a key figure, but the key figure is the Vikings defense, which I think is going to be better than it was last year. That's where the conversation should start with. If the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl, it will be because of this Brian Flores defense, the talent that they added in free agency the last 2 years, the scheme, the depth. The Vikings defense last year was 5th in scoring, 9th in yards per play allowed, 6th in pressure rate, 2nd in passer rating against, and 4th in rush yards per attempt against. And I think they're going to be better in most, if not all, of those categories. And the first week of practice only enhances my opinion. So that's my hottest take is JJ McCarthy is a key figure for a potential run here. But we need to talk more about this defense and how good this could be a 2017 situation where they just straight up have the best defense in the NFL.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, they are, we knew that with the guys that they brought in that they were going to be good, but this is a really, really impressive, as long as they have health, what they've done up front now to me, game changer. Because now if you have interior pressure, over the center and guard, and that's immediate pressure, those aren't guys from the edges. Those are guys who are in your backfield before you can say hut. That is an absolutely huge thing. The other thing, too, and O'Connell brought this up unprompted at his Tuesday press conference to open training camp last week. And it's something we need to keep in mind, which is it's the game manager thing. And O'Connell said, I'm paraphrasing here, something along the lines of, it's like a dirty word. But I'll tell you what, if you don't have a guy, if all 32 teams have quarterbacks who hopefully can manage the game. And if they don't, I'll show you a losing team. So, JJ McCarthy, if you look at the talent on the offense too, JJ McCarthy needs to manage the game well. He needs to make some big plays. Does he need to be everything to this team? Absolutely not. He does not need to, this is why the Vikings got Jordan Mason. This is why the Vikings improved their line. They need to run the ball more efficiently, and they know that. So I think that's a spot on take, but this defense now could be scary. And that's the thing is, now they don't have to blitz as much. Now, it's quite clear Brian Flores is going to have, I would say, 5 to 8 wrinkles that are going to be different because that's what he does every year. And that's what makes life hell for opposing teams because they can't have then studied the film of what the Vikings are going to do all summer because it's going to be a different twist, a different wrinkle. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Also, just think about this we'll take away I could pepper you with stats, and hell, we might get into the weeds with Warren Sharp on the bonus episode today. But last year, the 5th ranked scoring defense, the Vikings, allowed an average of 19.5 points per game. The Chargers had the number 1 scoring defense. It was 17 or 17.5 points per game. If the Vikings defense is in that ballpark, and I believe the 2017 Zimmer peak defense was 16, 17, 18 points per game allowed, I think that is the range that this defense is going to be in, and we'll see if it ranks 1st or 5th or 6th or whatever. That takes so much pressure off the first-year starting quarterback. Hey, so unlike the Bengals or, pick some other terrible defensive teams in the league where they're allowing 25, 27 points a game, all we need from you today is like 2 touchdowns, maybe a field goal or 2. And we're going to be right there at the end of the fourth quarter. If you can get us 28, we might win by 10. So it makes it so much easier. You don't have to score on every drive. Put together like 3 awesome drives in 3 hours offensively. We'll get you some good field position a couple times, and we'll win the game 23-16 if needed, right? That's how they did it. I mean, they had some blowouts in 2017, but it wasn't 42 points, 38 points. It was 21-10.
And this is where
23-17.
And this is where it also becomes important that you establish your run game, not just for success in gaining yards, but also eating clock. Like the one thing you can't do to this defense, in part because it plays at such a high intensity, and in part because it does have a few older guys, you can't be putting them out on the field constantly. So if you can, so instead of, incompletion, 3rd and 10 run, punt, if you can actually work the clock with the run game and keep the defense off the field, that becomes huge too. So yeah, I think this is a pretty well thought out scenario of how you're going to win football games. And I don't think it's all about JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. It's
Stella agrees.
Stella's just loving this conversation here.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with her. I'm gonna have to go out and take care of her after the show.
I think she's fired up about the defensive front.
Yeah.
I think she's just
the last 2 days.
Jonathan Allen.
She is now violating the agreement with Pop to keep her mouth quiet during recording, and there's going to be hell to pay out there in just a little while.
Hell to pay. You're going to give her 5 treats and pat her.
I'm going
on the
Ben Johnson. I'm going to kick her out. I'm going to kick her out of the couch.
Who's a girl? Be quiet for Pop. Be quiet for Judd's camp notes. Yeah.
Hey Phil, are those Vikings training camp notes I see?
You tell us, Judd. Are there more training camp notes in there?
I thought you might have some more from your note taking, like your homework assignment. You did really well.
I do. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Your football spidey senses kind of led to this homework assignment yesterday. You said, "Hey, why don't you keep an eye on Jeff Okudah for part of this practice, and maybe this can open up a larger cornerback discussion because Jeff Okudah right now is." From what I can tell, the number 2 cornerback on the depth chart because Isaiah Rodgers has been working off to the side. Something happened. Do we know specifically the injury that Isaiah Rodgers suffered?
No, Connell talks today, this afternoon. So we've not talked to him since Isaiah started to sit out, which was on Saturday.
So he's been out. He was working with a trainer on the side field today. We don't know the severity of it, but in the absence of Isaiah Rodgers, you've got Byron Murphy Jr. as the bona fide number 1 cornerback. And then yesterday, Jeff Okudah was the number 2 cornerback with, I think it was Mekhi Blackman working in as the 3rd cornerback, and then Murphy moves into the slot, right? So you asked me to keep an eye on Jeff Okudah. Is he rotating to the short side of the field, depending on which hash mark the ball is on? So if the ball is on the left hash mark, the short side of the field would be to the left of the offense, less field to cover. Are they moving Okudah around based on where the ball is hash marked? And from what I could tell over 2 hours, every single snap of full team and 9-on-7 running drills, Jeff Okudah rotated to the short side of the field. So your football spidey senses were correct. Now you could say that because he's not a bust yet because the Vikings are putting him in a pretty big spot here. But his career has not worked out the way that his number 3 overall pick status were to have indicated. And according to PFF, he's been really bad in coverage. So if the Vikings think, listen, he's playable and we think he's got a ton of upside, but let's make it a little easier on him, you'd assign him to the smaller part of the field, right? So there's less ground to cover. So that was something that they were doing yesterday. I don't know if it's in their plans going forward, if it's something they're just kind of easing him into first-team defensive work here. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a sort of a big risk. Like if you don't trust him, because as you brought up on the show yesterday, Phil, you're going to have teams say, okay, that's fine. There might be less space to work, but go against our number 1 receiver, Jeff. And the PFF grades spell it out pretty clearly that in his career, which has not gone as planned, he's not been very good in coverage. So I think it's a very interesting thing. And I will say this, if Isaiah Rodgers is going to be a guy who gets dinged up, like if this is the start of, I don't know, let's say it's a hammy right now, and then it's something else. I don't know I'm completely comfortable. Like, if you think Jeff Okudah has to start if Isaiah Rodgers can't, I don't know I am as comfortable as I thought I might be when training camp started. So I think this is definitely remains, like, if there's a position on which this team is going to go need to get some help out at, which a lot of people have said it's cornerback, I think that is a probability. Like, I don't know that you can tell Jeff, hey, just take the short side of the field and, oh, but by the way, stop the Packers' top receiver and then do it for the Bears. Just seems like a very dicey ask. And if you go through the list, the Vikings are facing some pretty good talent this season on the offensive side. So Stephon Gilmore, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying he's great, but I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like that gets a phone call.
Yeah, and a guy like Stephon Gilmore in his mid-30s, he doesn't want to be out here grinding. It's a defense that he knows now, played well in it last year.
He did this last year, and he didn't know the defense that well.
Yeah, so show up in like 2 weeks or whatever and get ready to rock and roll. So I get what they're doing, but you just made the point, and I'll echo it. I feel like it makes it way too easy to put your number one receiver. We know that Jeff Okudah is going to be on this side of the field every single time. We'll just put it's kind of the opposite of what sometimes defenses do, which is let's have our best cornerback shadow their best receiver. It takes that option out of your hands if you wanted Byron Murphy Jr. to do some shadowing. So, but we'll keep an eye on the short side of the field going
and
forward.
Hey,
I
Phil,
wonder
are those Vikings training camp notes I see?
Yes, they were.
I'm trying to think. Fine work there. I'm trying to think of the workaround for that, and I just can't think of one. So, like, and especially since Byron Murphy Jr. is your top corner, but he moves inside, which he's the one guy that can. So there's not really a great shadow opportunity from the Vikings perspective because Murphy's not going to switch sides. So, yeah, it feels to me like and hey, Jeff Okudah, I hope he does well. But the reality is, if that's how they think about him and they really don't trust him fully, it doesn't feel like a sustainable thing. It feels like a short-term fix more than a sustainable action.
We will go through the rest of Judd's camp notes here. There's more toward the bottom of that notebook because yesterday was a juicy day at practice. But the Meadows at Mystic right now, if you enjoy summer golf, the Meadows at Mystic is a great place to book a tee time, right? Or if you're fired up after Happy Gilmore's sequel, Meadows at Mystic.
That's right. Will Zalatoris, I don't know if he'll be there. Yeah, he's that kid. Are you the same kid? As he's getting choked out a little bit there. But Meadows at Mystic Lake welcome all types of golfers, whether you're like me and you're firing a 100 plus, whether you're breaking 80. The Meadows at Mystic Lake provides a fun experience. Plus, they have that great patio out there, so you can go out there and sit one, enjoy a cold one right after your round. Or, I don't know if they're going to be doing shotguns of espresso and coffee like Happy was doing in the second one. But it's a great place. It's got a great pro shop, too. Go to golfthemeadows.com to learn more and to book that tee time.
Also, Park Dental is back for the 2025 season, supporting Purple Daily here and supporting our teeth. I've had some great appointments at Park Dental. This was me last fall walking into my new dentist. I was dentistless in the wilderness. My old dentist retired or lied to me, just didn't want to see me anymore. I don't know. That CEO of the Evil Golf League could probably use a new dentist with his halitosis problem. But Park Dental's great. 50 years caring for and cleaning teeth in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. And there's probably a location within a few minutes of wherever you live or work, all throughout the metro area. So schedule your checkup at parkdental.com, parkdental.com. All right, Judd. Judd's camp notes. Come on.
All right, some good news. And I don't think that this means he's close to being back to practice because, quite frankly, I don't think it matters that much. But Justin Jefferson out on the field again yesterday, has a wrap on that leg, and I believe it's the left leg, where he has a minor slight hamstring strain, but he looked pretty spry. It doesn't look concerning. Again, you do not want to make it worse, so he needs to not practice or not play for as long as possible before the September 8th or September 7th opener against the Bears. But that being said, I thought that was good news. Brian O'Neill told reporters or just the Star Tribune, I saw it in the Star Tribune story, that Christian Darrisaw expected to take part in team practices soon, which is a huge step. If he could take part in team practices in the next week or so, and that's what it sounds like, then I think he's on track to play against the Bears. I think that one puts you, like, it's one thing to do individuals and a little bit of work here and there, but if you're out there with the first team this early in training camp, to me, that means that there's a confidence, unless there's a setback, he can play against the Bears.
Yeah, it would mean that you're no longer behind schedule. Like if you can get in there within a week or two of the first camp practice, you can play catch up, especially if you're a veteran. But that's another thing, just kind of tying together the first talker, JJ McCarthy, and the first team offense struggling in that last portion. You're also trying to fend off that defense without one of the best left tackles in the league. In that instance, without your starting right guard, who did mix in Will Fries, and he's progressing too, but he wasn't in for that 2-minute drill. And even though Donovan Jackson has been receiving rave reviews, Ryan Kelly spoke highly of him after practice yesterday, talking to us media schleps. It's a rookie left guard going through his first training camp week against that defense too. So those are just, once Darisaw comes back and Fries is in there and JJ McCarthy has another couple weeks, we would expect the offense to punch back a little more aggressively in some of these full team situations.
Yeah, and my guess is that they're going to be in pads again one of the next 2 days. They're off on Thursday. I think then they'll probably be back in pads on Friday, and they do practice on Saturday and Sunday. I have a punting training camp note if you want it.
Oh, my gosh. Let's fire this up. Football. Let's go. Hang time.
The eyes are always on the field. That's all I'm going to say. Or fields, plural. Okay, so I'm just going to say this right now. I have no knowledge that there is a punting competition. There are 2 punters in camp. Oscar Chapman from Australia, who has punted, who was a college punter, but he is on the, I believe it's an exemption of sorts because he is from Australia. So he's assured a spot, for instance, on the practice squad that I don't think will count against the 15. But let me just say this. In seeing Oscar Chapman take part in punting drills yesterday, and I don't know if you caught this or not, Phil, the amount of different punts, he's got like 2 or 3, 3 or 4 possibly different punts, how they come off his foot, how they travel through the air. He definitely has the Australian, that sort of drop punt. He also has what looks to be a cannon for a leg. So I'm just telling you, keep an eye on Oscar Chapman. I don't think Ryan Wright's job is in jeopardy, but Ryan Wright's history here is not exactly of Ray Guy Sterling variety. So Oscar Chapman might be a guy who could end up with the punting job at some point. I loved the leg, and I love a guy that has an array of different arsenal weapon punts in his back pocket.
Yeah, so is he just, it's not a competition, but kind of, because he's there. Well, he's like the 91st guy on the roster. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. He's got an exemption, but he's getting a chance. So like he got a chance to punt against Wright, so there has to be some type of competition. And I just keep going back to, I don't know that like Ryan Wright should be some untouchable. Like he's never, to me, it's not like, oh my God, all of these years of Ryan Wright. It's like, okay, he's been okay, but Chapman has a very interesting leg, and that is one area where I don't think it's a stretch to say the Vikings could definitely have some improvement. So keep an eye on him. I believe, let's see here if I can find it. I think he is number 91. Is that right? I've got the roster right here. Let me see here.
It's a great number for a
number. No, I'm sorry. 86.
Oh, even.
Oh, no. I'm wrong. 91. I'm looking at Gavin. There's 2 sets of lists here of guys that aren't practicing or have exemptions. 91, 6'3", 211-pound punter.
Yeah. Gavin Bartholomew is number 86.
And he's still not practicing yet.
Actually, Chaz Chambliss returned to practice yesterday.
He did indeed.
Out of Georgia.
And I think he got some work with the 2nd or 3rd team.
He was mixing in there. So that leaves only one current player on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform, Gavin Bartholomew, with Isaiah Rodgers and Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Sort of sidelined from practice, and then Will Fries and Christian Darisaw limited and mixing into certain drills. But
the fact Bartholomew has a bad back concerns me a bit, though, and I think a decision is going to have to be made at some point in time. Do they feel like they have a tight end 3 in camp, or do they have to go out, as guys get let go, especially the final cuts in a few weeks. Do they have to go out and get one? Like, I'm definitely keeping an eye on the cornerback depth, and it's not that they don't have a ton of corners, but we are clearly seeing they don't feel super comfortable. Like, Dwight McLaughlin, I think, is decent, but he has not gotten, as far as I can tell, any reps with the one so far.
Yeah.
And so cornerback, definitely one, and then tight end, if you feel comfortable enough with the guys who are practicing, because Bartholomew, you don't know with a back, that could be, that could be weeks.
Who is right now? Maybe this is just a question to answer for a future Judd's Camp Notes. Your number 3 tight end, Johnny Munt's Memorial Power Rankings right now is Eurosek. Right now, like, would it be Eurosek number 1 on that?
The Georgia kid. Yep.
Okay.
That's him. Yes. Yeah. I think the other guy guy that they signed as an undrafted free agent is far more of a practice squad guy.
Bryson Nesbitt.
Yes. I think he's a practice squad guy. Eurosek would get the 3 job, and then there's also a veteran.
Giovanni Ricci.
Yeah.
Put some respect on there. Western Michigan, row the boat, Skyuma.
Yeah. But I don't know that he would be the Munt. The preseason games to me are going to be really intriguing from the perspective of tight end 3.
Yep. And Josh Oliver is, my guess is, in the absence of TE3, if your TEs 1 and 2 are healthy, then those guys just get all the snaps. You just, like, you wouldn't extend to. They extended to Johnny Munt in the regular season because they trusted him.
Right.
But not every team heavily uses a TE3. Right. Now, if you want to go meat and potatoes, some heavier packages where you're doing 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on the field more often, then okay, you're probably going to dip into a 3rd tight end or some of like the goal line packages. So, interesting battle to watch.
If and when Addison gets suspended for 3 games, I do wonder if we would see a heavy dose of 12 personnel.
Or is it more semantically? Is it more CJ Ham in some spots where it's 2 running backs, quote unquote, so 21 or 22 personnel?
Maybe
just a little extra beef on the field. Because I mean, CJ Ham has been around forever.
Yep.
Pretty rarely plays more than like 20% of the offensive snaps. So would you? And there's ways to deploy a fullback similarly to a tight end. You're not going to have him lining up with his hand in the grass, in line with the offensive line. But
I think that there would be a case to be made, especially with them running more, to have Hawkinson, who can catch, Oliver, who's an outstanding blocker. But here's the thing: is he can catch. Yeah. Like that's the thing is among the myths is, well, Josh Oliver can't catch a football. Actually, no, he can. And I do think as we watch practices unfold, especially early in the season, as McCarthy's sort of getting his bearings about him, I am convinced the tight ends are going to become incredibly important to him.
Yeah. Good session here. Got any more camp notes, Judd?
Come on. Football.
Tomorrow.
Sam Howell, 4 of 6 yesterday, 4 of 6, 0 of 3 as well, though, in the late game drill, and he was picked off once.
He did well. One of those completions was after a very clear Dallas Turner sack.
Oh, you got to go kill it.
Did you count that in the 4 for 6, or did you take that off? You and I looked at each other like, I don't think that counts.
Yeah, but if you get the ball off, I'm going to give you a completion.
He shook his head in shame before he threw the ball. That's how much.
I only ding you. Well, Sam Howell, if you want to play that game, Sam Howell's probably been sacked 5 times or more.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't deliver the football. I don't know what else to say. I hate to get on a show where it's the backup QB and bash him every day. But you saw it.
But here we are.
But you saw it. He doesn't deliver the football. Like, he doesn't get rid of the football. JJ McCarthy, it wasn't pretty, but he has a mechanism, at least, where I think he's like, okay, I got to get rid of the football. And sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But with Howell, he's literally just sort of surveying the field. And at some point, just throw it away.
Dude, got to cut that thing loose. Cut her loose.
Football. Throw it to Mackey.
Bang.
Like McCarthy did.
I'll catch it. Probably with one hand.
One hand and a water bottle.
That's right. All right. Great session of Judd's Camp Notes here. Plenty more tomorrow, including also write that down predictions, and then be on the lookout on your Purple Daily podcast feeds, YouTube channel. Click that like button, the subscribe button. We're almost to 60,000. We're just like a few thousand away from 60,000 YouTube subscribers. So thank you for helping us get here. But Warren Sharp with an analytical preview of the 2025 Vikings. Purple Daily, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See ya.